Podcast mode, and there he is. There he is, chat. And I will make the desktop audio switch it so that people can hear you, because that's you know, when you have a podcast, you want people to be able to hear both people talking. Although that would be a very interesting, podcast. Just like,
I have a pretty good voice. I really enjoy it.
All right, and I'm gonna swing my microphone over here so I can look super professional. Just like, oh yes, and here's my microphone right close to my face in podcast mode. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's going to be a bit odd because I don't see you actively. I see you on your Twitch stream.
So you're gonna see a bit of a delay. So like, I'm gonna throw a thumbs up and it's gonna be like 10 seconds and then you'll see it.
Exactly.
So for those, again, I just want to make sure, because I didn't see anybody do it in the chat. So can someone do !FIT, F-I-T, in the chat, please? Because you now have your very own command.
Great.
Yep, so he is getting started on Twitch, everybody. So be one of the first. Get in over there, follow him on Twitch, and also follow his Instagram. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself, Aleks.
Yeah, guys, my name is Aleks. I have a page on Instagram, @fit_hammer. It focuses primarily on promoting health and fitness in our Warhammer community, and with mini board gaming and miniature wargaming nerds in general. It's something that you just naturally assume goes well together, right? Working out and Warhammer. So I decided to make that wonderful sandwich and share it with others.
Can you raise his call volume? I can do that. All right, can you speak again?
Hey there.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Nailed it. Okay, and hey Hootie, how are you today? So you promote the health and well-being fitness approach to what is for many a very sedentary hobby, which I can attest to. So a very noble goal there, but you do a little bit more than that. You take a bit more of a hands-on approach.
Yes. I also provide coaching to those interested. 100%. I try not to push it, but I do let others know that it is available. Since I am a clinical outpatient dietitian by trade, that is my full-time profession. And I decided to take those skills into the hobby and, be a service to others who require it.
And those who require it are me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really looking forward to that because that's, I believe, almost the first thing tomorrow in the morning.
Yep, we have our very first meeting tomorrow. And I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to it. I may or may not be taking tonight as my last opportunity to actively engage in, like, I'm having pizza for dinner.
Oh, yes.
And then for dessert, I'm eating a giant spoonful of chocolate frosting because I couldn't be bothered to put it
on put it on pizza and then enjoy it that way.
God. Oh Jesus. No. That's the kind of thing that they do to pizza down in Florida. So I don't engage in such terrible behavior. Right, Hootie? Hootie's from Florida.
I see.
But yeah, I'm really excited, especially because of the added challenge that this is going to be for you, that I can't really use my upper body for workouts right now because my arm is busted.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's definitely going to be a challenge. I actually just had a client I talked to yesterday who has exactly the opposite situation. He cannot lose his lower body. So you're going to be the complete opposite.
Perfect. At least you got somewhere to start to like just be like, okay, and the opposite of that, the opposite of that, the opposite of that, the opposite of that.
It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
So where did your journey with like ultimately something has led to FitHammer, the Instagram, the mission.
Mm-hmm.
So where did your interest in fitness and your interest in Warhammer start? And then kind of where did that intersection happen?
Wow, you're digging really deep into. You sure you want to ask that question? Because that like takes us longer than a decade ago.
Oh, let me just check yeah, I would.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so originally, for those who don't know, I don't know if you know, but originally I'm from Russia. Not sure if you guys were aware of that.
Nope.
If you want to kick me off the podcast at this point, I'll be totally okay with that.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, Russia is not in the best place right now with its popularity. But yeah, I moved here when I was a teenager, around 14 years old. But the way my hobby journey started is I think I was like 10, and going after school, there was a local hobby shop. And yeah, it just kind of got hooked me. A guy was painting some miniatures. I had no money, so I went to a local toy store. I got the crappiest paints I could find, the cheapest miniature set, and I got hooked. So that's how I got introduced to the hobby. And then my dad was living in Moscow at the time, and he purchased me a set of Warhammer orcs, 40K orcs actually. And I painted some of orcs. Yeah, ever since then, been hooked on Warhammer.
So it's always been Warhammer 40K. I know you seem to be painting halflings recently.
Yes, yeah. So actually, it's been mostly Warhammer Fantasy at the time, and now it's Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And I just recently got into 40K with this orcs, going back to my old roots.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a fun adventure for me. You chose the perfect time to do it because you're gonna have someone paint it for you, so you don't have to.
That is the best thing about this army, that I don't have to paint it.
Yeah,
I love painting, but I'm such a slow painter because I'm so meticulous with the details. And yeah, my friends make fun of me for it. I paint like half an army a year, but it gets done eventually.
God, that would drive me insane. Like this whole thing that I'm doing with these Eldar is going to be the only thing that's holding me back. Is I'm waiting on 2 bottles of inks that I need to wait like 4 days for them to arrive, which is going to be just enough time for me to leisurely get through this and probably building a model that's about this tall. But when it comes to orcs, I have made it very clear how much I don't like the idea of painting them. But then someone offered me money, and I said, "Well, I guess that train has left the station." And since then, it's become more like you. And now, Gear Guts Mech Shop apparently has a project that he is interested in me taking over, which would be painting the largest orc model in the world, easily. It's 4 feet tall by 3 feet tall. It, could kill a child by falling on them.
That's
a lot. Yes. So I'm interested to see where that goes, but at the same time, the guy who never wanted to paint orcs is now the orc guy.
And your army, your Mad Max orc army, was phenomenal. I don't know if you shared it. I don't think you did.
Yeah, that was one I did. That was a client commission. They've seen me work on it. I work on my stuff on stream, but yeah, that was pretty quick. Actually, the second half of that army is headed my way here shortly. It's going to be mostly like commandos and bikes, if I remember correctly. I did all the regular vehicles in the first go round. But yeah, awesome. That was a lot of fun. Orcs are, I will admit, it's fun to combine my 2 favorite things on orcs, which are really bright colors, streaking grime and weathering. So just being able to be like, oh, because once I know if I'm going to throw like turquoise, if I'm going to throw turquoise on a model, like especially orc models, it's going to look really weird. But once you tone it down with something like an enamel wash, it makes sense on it, especially once you weather it up, or at least it does in my opinion. But yeah, we're going to do orcs for you. You do halflings as well. Are there any other armies you play?
Yeah, I do halflings as Cities of Sigmar. That's my main Age of Sigmar army. And then I have some Skaven, some good old rats. They're getting a new book in Age of Sigmar, which is pretty exciting. I have a Slaves to Darkness / Tzeentch army for Age of Sigmar as well. And I believe that's it. I have an old fantasy High Elves army, which is pretty exciting as well, but that hasn't seen the tabletop for a long time.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the. I only came into the hobby back. We're coming up on 2 years, actually, my 2-year anniversary.
That is crazy that you've only been in this for 2 years and you're this amazing at painting.
I appreciate that. That's very kind. I like to think that while I actively avoided painting, when I was in college, I was an art major, but I did sculpture and printmaking. So I ran away from painting as much as I could, which is kind of ironic given the fact that I haven't welded anything or done any printmaking since I left college, but now I paint every day for at least 3 hours. So it's great when it's like the only thing you want to do and you just hyperfixate on it. You're like, oh, I just finished another army this weekend. Great.
Very true. Yeah, that's fantastic. How fast you can paint and how well. Yeah, if you did not have artistic background, I would just call BS that you're definitely, you are.
I'm hiding something.
Minions in a skin suit or something like that.
Oh, you are like, I'm actually a painting collective. Like I have like 6 people on the other side of the computer screen that are all just throwing paint as fast as they can. I could understand that, but not from the sense of like, I'm like, oh, look at me go with my speed. It's more people misconstrue my speed with my like, oh, this guy must be super efficient to be able to have a life and paint models and stuff. Like, no. I just paint models. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. Work is done. Turn around because my work laptop is right here. Separation of work, the work-life balance separation in this space is not great, but I can rotate over and immediately start painting. And that's what I prefer to do.
And you love it. You enjoy it. There are some days where I work from home and I see clients purely online, and that's what I do in between clients. I either lift weights or I build or paint models.
Yeah, I used to do a lunch run. I would do a 5K during lunch, and that was when I was using exercise as a anxiety coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And because it was literally me running away from my desk to get away from my work, to put as much physical distance as I could between myself and the job that was stressing me out. So I got really good at running that summer. And then it all just went to shit.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're in a better place now. Maybe not physically, but mentally.
Oh, Denny does a lunch run too. Oh yeah, lunch run gang. So we talked about the journey into Warhammer, and now your apparent subsequent return with Orcs, which again I will be facilitating, which I'm happy to do. But your your profession is one that keeps people healthy. That's clearly a very big passion for you. I'm always fascinated about this sort of question of like, when did you realize what you wanted to be when you grew up? Because like, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and my wife knew in like 3rd grade that she wanted to be a teacher, and she's a teacher. So it's that sort of thing. Like, when did you realize that like this was an aspect of what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Right. Yeah. Really, really fantastic question. And to your point, I don't think you always need to know what you're going to be when you grow up, and things change. And like, I don't think just because you did not think you're going to be a commissioned Warhammer painter, when you were 12, means you can't do it and have a very fantastic career with it. But to your point, when I was younger, I was always chubby. And when I wanted to grow up, I wanted to not be chubby. Funny enough, I wanted to be an actor or a chef, and that was odd because I did not become either of those things, not even remotely close. But when I was in high school, basically I had a kind of a messed up relationship with my weight my whole life, and how I looked and how I felt and all that comes with that. So right around high school, I developed an eating disorder. Are you familiar with anorexia? Yeah. So I was similar to my height now, maybe an inch shorter. And I went from around 185 to around 105. Right. So I went from a chubby kid to like a bones, like skin and bones. So nothing to it. Terrible relationship with food. Like I went to the doctors and my heart was like skipping a beat and like hanging. There was no muscle there. So basically got really dangerously close to a, not death, I want to say, but maybe hospitalization, right? So I got to that point. I saw what it was doing to my family, to my loved ones, and eventually that was kind of the turning point. And I gained the weight back, and I got out of the really dangerous stuff. But then my relationship with food basically went from super restrictive, super controlled to like I don't care about anything. So I ate and I overate, and I gained the weight right back, and I was actually worse off than when I started, I think. So going into college, I went into about a year before college, I kind of got back on track and got to a healthier weight and better relationship with food, but not quite. And then I decided to go into a nutrition and dietetics degree to learn about food and help others not make the mistakes that I did, and also learn about healthy, sustainable lifestyle. And I think I did learn a lot there. And from then on, I kind of overcame the eating disorder and the history of that, and got my internship in a clinical setting in a hospital. And that's what I do now, outpatient clinical nutrition. And I actually have a few clients with eating disorders as well, in addition to a lot of other nutrition issues that I help clients with. But that's the history. I basically came from a history of eating disorder, and I want to help people achieve the best versions of themselves, or be the best versions of themselves, with proper health and nutrition, not with dieting, not with restriction, not with disordered eating.
Dude, that's fantastic. What a freaking uplifting story. Like this is that moment in like the Disney movie when like the music swells and I'm just like, I'm not crying. Jesus. That's fantastic to hear that. I mean, while yeah, the unfortunate reality of like going through an incredibly rough spot with like, my experience with eating disorders has never been direct. I've had several friends who have had to battle that particular demon, and it's insidious how it twists your perspective on yourself, and to be able to turn that not only on its head and help yourself, but to have the desire to turn that into a force for good for those around you, and to help those who unfortunately are suffering in a similar fashion, and others, is amazing, because that helps benefit people like me. Because so far, like it's really weird how I never approached fitness from the perspective of like well-being. Fitness for me always was tangential to, like, I was in track in grade school, and I was terrible at it. I hated it. And then, because who wants to have the kid with this is an example I like to give folks. My head right now is the same size it was when I was like 10, but I had a neck about this big around. So I looked like a bobblehead with giant feet, just like flopping along. I looked like a cartoon character. So watch that, try to do hurdles, and it was terrible. I hated it. It was very embarrassing. But from that into high school, where I was a swimmer, you're swimming twice a day, every day for 4 years. You're going to be in pretty good shape, and you're going to be used to eating whatever the hell you want. And also being a young teenage boy, you're just going to pound down food. I go to college, and I was in pretty good shape. Like, and even before I joined the Army, I had started to gain weight. I got up to about 200 pounds when I went to college at about 170. And I come back from basic training. So in a 3-month period, I lost 25 pounds, and I was in the best shape of my life. There was no water weight on me. I was shredded. I could have like walked on and done a Marvel movie sort of photo shoot for a film. But then again, it's no working out, drinking every day, partying, eating like an absolute maniac. I ended up getting up to 250 pounds.
Wow.
And it was amazing that once I left college and stopped drinking every day, how quickly that weight started to fall off. But for me, like throughout that whole process, exercise was never something that I did. One, like we said, for health and well-being, but it was also something I never did for fitness. Like, it was just like, I'm exercising because either the man in the funny hat is yelling at me, or I need to do it because I have a swim competition and I need to be faster. That was it. So this is going to be a very interesting transition for me to actively attempt to do it for my health. And actually, like I was just talking about earlier, I went running because I wanted to get away from work, not because I was like, running is going to make me feel good. So I'm very excited to watch you like wave your workout like fairy wand and just bop and just make me actually enjoy this process, which I know it's not how it works. But also the relationship with food is going to be a fun one to tackle, because like I said, I still love to eat everything.
Yeah, we're not going to stop eating. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
People always assume that when they see a dietitian, they're going to tell them to eat less. That's not the case. We'll tell you to eat different.
And I felt really good because I found those Costco protein bars, and I was like, oh, thank God, I found something that doesn't taste terrible. And you said it was probably a good thing to eat. So
it was like one of the best protein bars I've seen, especially for the price. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I wish I had a nearby.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Close. Yeah.
I wonder if you could just get a Costco membership and then order through them online.
Just for the protein bars.
Just for the protein bars? Well, I mean, the membership alone would probably pay for itself just based off of that.
Honestly, yeah, those protein bars are ridiculously good deal, especially with how good they were tasting, you said.
Yeah, the peanut butter one, like we talked about, it's weird how every protein bar I've had that has peanut butter in it is like way softer than the rest and yet still doesn't taste like peanut butter. But
yeah.
that cookies and cream one is 10 out of 10, rock solid, the best protein bar I've ever had.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, they can't figure out a good peanut butter flavor. I don't think I've had a single peanut butter bar that tasted great.
Oh, that's a tea leaf. Sorry about that.
Do you enjoy your tea as well?
I do. I like okay, so part of that whole like me not exercising and eating too much and whatnot, at near the end of college and after leaving college, I was drinking 3 of the extra large cans of Monster a day.
Oh.
And so obviously a lot of sugar, not good for me. A lot of caffeine, also not good for me. And I realized like I need to cut this out, not only for the calories, but also because it's too much caffeine, because we had gotten to the point where I would drink them and I wouldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
And I then quit cold turkey and then went through like the worst 36 hours of my life with like whatever those headaches are called, where you can't like move or you vomit.
Migraine,
that was it. Yep, that's what I had. It felt like someone put a railroad spike through my eyeball. But I quit caffeine for like 2.5 years, and then I was just like, I'm tired at work, and my wife finally says, "Hey, hon, just have a cup of tea." I'm like, I don't want to drink that tastes bitter and gross. She said, it's a really light tea, just have a sip, it's fine. And I ended up having some green tea. I'm like, this is pretty good. And now I have green teas and green white teas, and now I don't drink caffeine like I used to, which is good. But yeah, I like tea. Tea is good. It's the right amount.
You get some antioxidants in there, reduce your inflammation. You get L-theanine in most tea as well, which helps with kind of wakeful relaxation. So it doesn't make you tired, but it makes you calmer. It's a really, really good product.
Way to go, plants. Take that, coffee.
Well, coffee has a lot of benefits too, just a little more caffeine.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. Well, no, I'm one of those people that I can enjoy the smell of like a freshly roasted like coffee that's like percolating. Like I can enjoy that smell, but I can't stand the taste. I can't do coffee. And Skelly be dying to know what they're the Kirkland brand protein bars.
Okay.
Are top notch. They're really, really good. Do we have where are my mods at? Can we get a shout out for Skelly B, please? She's another streamer and cosplayer. She is amazeballs. Green tea is amazeballs. Well, Skelly B is amazeballs too. So now I want to ask you some questions about your knowledge of 40K. With regards to when it comes to playing the game. You said you had gotten some orcs to begin with way back in the day, and now you're coming back with orcs.
Mm-hmm.
What is an army that you don't currently have, but if someone just dropped it off at your door, you would be happy to paint and play?
Paint and play. So you mean 40K?
Yes.
So funny thing you asked that, a little bit of backstory. That's what happened with orcs.
Oh, really?
So I was not into 40K, and I'm going to give a big shout out to Strength Hammer. So Strength Hammer _ on Instagram. He's what started me into the fitness, at least the fitness on Instagram, sharing fitness on Instagram. And he was my first game of Warhammer in the States, which is pretty amazing. Anyway, one day we were just talking, and he asked me the same question that you asked. If you were to start a 40K army, doesn't matter the cost, no strings attached, right? What would you do? And I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to, but I'm going to get orcs. So guess what he did? He bought me 2,000 orcs.
What a nice guy. That's fantastic.
Guy. What an awesome guy.
But also remember, he does have an ulterior motive. You are now obligated to play 40K with him.
Yeah.
forever.
Oh no, it was a trap all along.
Yep, there was a little contract in there that once you said, "Oh my God, you're so generous," you now have to play with him, and he's like, "Ah, now I have I now have a guaranteed opponent to play 40K against forever."
I have no choice. But to answer your question, that was my first gut reaction because Warhammer, a unit of boys, was my first ever unit of Warhammer. And I'm like, I have to go with orcs, and they're so fun. They don't take themselves seriously. They are the only good guys in 40K, right? According to me. So if I had to pick another army in 40K that was not orcs, man, maybe Battle Sisters.
Good choice.
Yes.
Very good choice. Sisters of Battle are a lot of fun, and in a way, they're actually very orky because they love their guns. They have multiple vehicle options, not as many as orcs, but they have multiple vehicle options. And despite what people may think, they are a horde army. Sisters of Battle are a horde army. You are going to be fielding like 65, 70 models on the table. And that's like on the low end.
That's fantastic.
So
I forgot to mention an army. So another army I play is Gloomspite Gits. So whenever I, people ask me what's your next army, they always say, is it going to be a horde army?
You already have two.
I have three, right? So I play Gloomspite Gits, I play Skaven, and the way I play my cities is always horde.
So you play Skaven as horde as well, instead of like, because Matt Yee, another streamer friend of mine, he also plays Gloomspite Gits, and he is finishing up a Skaven army of what he is calling his gym rats. Because it's all the Storm Fiends, all the big buff boys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So there's like 12 of them. I would think that as a man who is a workout connoisseur, you would be like, those rats work out. Yeah, let's play the big buff rats.
Yeah, I mean, I have
branding.
I have those too. But I also have 100 clan rats, which I have to put on the table. I did not spend hours and hours and days painting them not to use them.
That's a fair point. Now, the follow-up question. We now know what you would potentially pick up next. What would you get rid of if you could pick one 40K army to just make not exist anymore?
Ever. Just not exist.
Just gone. No, it will never be played again. They will never put out anymore. And you know what? Do it for Age of Sigmar too. What 40K and what Age of Sigmar army would you just be like, poof, Eldar, gone. If you have a bunch of Eldar models, too bad.
Wow. So I'm gonna do end times to armies now. Okay. You weren't there when end times happened, huh?
No, but I know the repercussions of when Warhammer Fantasy died and Age of Sigmar started, and all the lizard dudes were like, haha, okay, bye, and they just kind of disappeared.
Yes, and reappeared. Okay, so if I had to choose a 40K and an Age of Sigmar army to just be gone, man, it's hard because some armies I personally don't like, but I like playing against them because I hate them, so I like beating it. It's a hard choice, man. Wow, what if I say Space Marines? Wow, I don't know if I want to say that. They'll upset a lot of people. And you know what? I never liked Gene Stealer cults. Yeah, I just never liked their aesthetic. I actually even like Tyranids as a whole way more than Gene Stealer cults. It must be the face, the little wrinkly, little nubs.
The wrinkle forehead.
Yeah, wrinkle forehead, the nubs. It's just the aesthetic of them. I can't, like, I get Tyranids, the cool bugs, cool monster bugs. Cool. Like, I'll fight against that. I'm not going to play it, but I'll fight against that. But like the weird human bug creatures, that's where I draw the line.
Okay. So you would get rid of Gene Stealer cults for 40K.
Gene Stealer cults for 40K.
What would you get rid of for Age of Sigmar? For me, I would get rid of Bretonnians. Way.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that already happened, didn't it?
Blow. That was a low blow.
Take that, Bretonnian fans.
Yeah, it's too sad. Hey, you can still play the Cities of Sigmar. I went to a tournament recently, all Bretonnian models, but play the Cities of Sigmar. That was fantastic.
Oh, Calf is here. What up, Calf? Running out of time? This meeting will end in 10 minutes. No. All right, fine. We'll end in 10 minutes and then I'll start the call again.
Fantastic.
Joke's on you, Zoom. I assume that's how it works. This is actually my first, aside from the Zoom calls I've done with you, this is like, I've never used Zoom for my podcast chats.
And
so
it's all my fault, so I apologize.
I had to learn eventually. So look at it this way. You're training me in new methods.
You're
changing my perspective, not only on food and exercise, but you're changing my perspective on web applications. So look at you go.
All kinds of changes happening in your life. All right. Age of Sigmar army, Caradron overlords.
Okay.
I don't like them. I don't like fighting them actually either, because they're so annoying. They just fly all over the board and drop bombs, and you try to fight them and then they flee and appear other places. They're very annoying.
So those are the dwarves with airships, right?
Steampunk dwarves.
Okay, because to me they look like better squats than the squats look like for 40K.
Yeah,
I'm a little. To each their own with that aesthetic. I know there are some people that have been like holding their breath since squats went away to come back, and they're not. They couldn't be more excited. But like, I saw the aesthetic and I'm like, I sleep. I'm out. I'm not into it.
Yes, I agree. I think I want to see somebody pick up squats and see them painted in a unique manner, but I would never pick up that army. So I agree.
I would need to do a lot of green stuffing, because like none of them have like the big bushy beards that I want my space dwarves to have. Yes. They don't have the big braided, like even their logo has like a braided beard, and none of the models do. They're all like beardless. And there are people that will point out, well, there are also female squats that are in and amongst them, so they're probably the ones without beards. I'm like, then a metal beard. Put a metal beard on all of them, like a beard protector.
Yeah.
Just to add to the aesthetic. But that's just me. For me, like for 40K, if I were to get rid of an army, often, to be contrarian, I would actually say I would get rid of orcs.
Get out of here.
I would say, well, I will in about 9 minutes. No, I would get rid of orcs. But for you, I won't say that today. I will then give the arguments as to why I would get rid of Harlequins. They are too small. They're not enough units to be their own army. I don't care how much lore they have centered around them. I've read and listened to several books where they play a very pivotal role, but they're the biggest thing to a MacGuffin that I've ever seen in 40K. Like the Harlequins show up and they do a thing because they can see the future. Problem solved. And so I would get rid of the Harlequins. Not the murder clowns. Yes, the murder clowns. Also, Calf, no, you cannot have my beard. This takes way too long to grow for me to get rid of it. This is like 3 months of work to get to here. When I was in basic, I went 3 days without shaving, and I got one of these inspections from a drill sergeant, and he let me pass. So I need this. It's also good sunscreen. It's good sun protection in the summer, because I'm very pale, as you can see by all the little dots. There's a sun next to the storm in your shirt. What is the meaning? Oh, this is a Paul McCartney album cover shirt, dude. This was from Egypt Station.
Fantastic.
Saw him perform twice. Guy still knows how to put on a show. Which, you know what? I love when random conversation just leads to the perfect next question. What do you listen to, if anything, while you hobby?
Oh man, great question. Really great question. Really depends on my mood. I may listen to a podcast. I may listen to a audiobook. I've been listening to a Hobbit recently. That's been very, very relaxing, very enjoyable. And sometimes music, not often, but sometimes music. Yeah, that's really typically it.
Is there a particular like kind of music that puts you in the zone when you're painting, or is it just kind of like listen to my liked playlist on Spotify?
So yeah, I think I don't usually do that. I usually put lo-fi on, because I think if I try to listen to words, I'll get distracted. So I just put like some kind of hip hop lo-fi, or just even relaxing, chill lo-fi, and it's very good. Usually I try to use hobby as therapy time, right? Just kind of relax, wind down at the end of the day, and yeah, I don't want anything super exciting during that time.
That's the exact opposite of what I'm doing. I'm listening to songs and I'm like just bashing my head around. I'll be like, oh no, wait, I got to focus on painting. Because it's exactly that. Like I'll start getting into the music and my body will move with it for a little while and it's fine. But then all of a sudden we're like this and it's just like, okay, no, I can't do this.
Yes, that's probably the reason why I don't listen to that kind of at the gym. At the gym, I do that. That's the time for me to listen to hardcore, rock, metal, all that stuff. But
The
not.
angriest of music.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes I get like a little bit concerned to the kind of music I listen to at the gym. Like, oh, okay, I should probably skip that one. Like,
Like
murder,
this is
destruction. I'm like, okay, you know what?
this is kind of loud. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me.
Exactly.
But as a guy, you know, speaking of lo-fi, and here's just a little pro tip for anybody out there that plans on streaming. If you plan on streaming, and especially on YouTube, because they're really robust with catching catching you using licensed music without approval. Harris Heller created a ton of free music that's available on Spotify. It's called Stream Beats. And there are tons of playlists that he made, a lot of hip hop beats, everything from like hard electronic to rock to lo-fi of varying kinds. And it is all specifically made to be open license. So you can use this music as much as you want in the backgrounds of your streams and you will never get a copyright strike against you for using it. And there's a lot of it and it's high quality. So you'll be able to have access to like really good tunes without worrying about your streams getting demonetized or taken down, or the worst case scenario, getting copyright strikes against you. Because at least on Twitch, if you get 3 of those, your account gets banned. Or just do what I do, turn off VODs and play whatever you want. But so actually, I just want to use this as an opportunity just to like get stuff in for me personally. Do you know what you want to paint your orcs as?
Yes, I think I have an idea, and I'm not sure if you're gonna like it. And I don't know if I want to do it 100% yet. I definitely want your feedback. I want you to enjoy it, actually. So if you're like, oh, this color scheme sucks, I will do something entirely different, like, sure, do it. But I was thinking a pale skin-like color scheme with blues and blacks.
So like really pale, still kind of peachy skin for the orc.
So not peachy. I want it to be like white, nearly white, somewhat skin tone, like human skin tone.
Okay.
Right? Not green.
I guess
green.
when I say peachy, I'm still like mentally I'm right there with you with like that like almost like dead looking skin, like very white, but in order to have, because you want to do blues and blacks for like the armor and the cloth, right? So I'm feeling you. So if we do that, we want to put a little bit of warmth into the skin. So that's why we'll do like we'll put that white for the skin, or that off-white, over something like, oh, here you are, Shadow Flesh.
Yes.
So this is dark and it has that like brown, like kind of reddish tone to it. But once we put the white over, that red tone will tint the white. So it'll look pale, but it won't look dead unless you want dead orcs.
No, I don't know about dead orcs.
Zomborks.
There's a lot of conversions. So that's the main idea for my color scheme, but I don't, man, after seeing your Mad Max orcs, I was like, I don't know, that's really cool as well. I like the desert look to them.
Yeah, the desert look is really, really easy, especially if you use pigment powders, because you can just stipple a bunch of it onto the base, and you have to set it very carefully using varnish. But if you do that right, the dust effect will stay. Hakuna Matata. Yeah, so like I was watching Calf over here once we started talking about color schemes. If you guys don't follow Calf Mini Painting on Instagram, is one of the best grimdark painters, I would say, in the world. So I'd check him out. He knows how to do weathering, and like he doesn't use any of the cheaty effects that I love to use. He's like going in and hand entering every single little fleck of chipped off paint and edging it with silver. Oh no. Start. Join with computer audio. All right. Hopefully he joins the meeting again, because there he is.
Hello, hello.
Thanks, stinking. Wait, hide self view. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah. Thanks, Zoom, for letting me know we have hit the 40-minute mark.
And we're back.
And we're back. Dust pigments, just leave them. Oh, don't set it. Perfect. Yeah, Cap's over here enjoying some late night burbages, because it's like what, 1, 2 in the morning for him. He's in Germany. 2 a.m.
That's funny, because I have that's great that he decided to join you, because I also have a friend from Germany who, on occasion that I stream, he'll actually join me and be present. Actually, you were there for the one Instagram stream he was on.
I was. That was a lot of fun to just crash that and be an absolute shitlord.
Yes, yeah, we just wanted to do a hobby hangout, and I said, hey, do you want to do an Instagram? And he was up for it.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts. I painted my very first mini in August of 2020, and I streamed starting in September of 2020 because I had come to Twitch. I'd found a bunch of streamers, and I was like, oh, wow, you guys are all really cool. I'm just going to ask you all the questions. And finally, one of them said, you should stream. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. No. But then I got lovingly bullied into it by 2 or 3 of them. And now here we are. So that's kind of where, I mean, everyone starts somewhere, but you're already starting off with a lot of knowledge on social media in general, given your success on Instagram. And I mean, what a hell of a message.
People seem to like the message. People really seem to like the message.
Combining their favorite, like the fact that you're doing, it's hilarious that you're doing this, because I said about a year ago, it'd be so cool if someone did a get fit like or get buff like a space marine, or have the body of a Drukhari raider sort of vibe. And here you are being like, how would fishing for from people like, oh, which Chaos Marine chapter would work out their back muscles the most?
Yes.
And I know I threw suggestions in there, and I was very proud of my suggestion. No, it wasn't. You said just which Space Marine chapter, period.
Space Marine chapter, yes.
Because I know for back muscles, I said salamanders because in my head, because they're carrying everyone else around on their backs.
Do you want to talk about the list?
Yes.
And this is going to happen. Actually, you can give me some ideas, because I usually
chat, get in on this. If you have ideas.
So this is going to be loyalists. This is going to be all loyalists.
I think half my suggestions are dead, because I definitely was throwing Trader Marines in there, because like exactly like Mubin said, World Eaters would be doing Armed Day every day.
For sure. I mean, I did write down some Trader chapters just for my future ideas, because I will do a Trader Allegiance as well. But for this one, I'll just do the loyalists. So chest and triceps are Blood Angels or Salamanders? What do you think?
For back and triceps?
No, chest and triceps.
Oh, chest and triceps. That's a Blood Angels thing. They're all Blood Angels are all about like, oh, look at me, we're so pretty with our blonde hair and all our vampire fangs that we sparkle sort of shit. You may notice I'm a bit of a Blood Angel hater.
And they have nipples in their armor. So
they do. Mephiston, you sick monster.
All right. So definitely that was the way I was leaning. So legs, White Scars I'm leaning towards very heavily. And then maybe Raven Guard or Death Guard.
I got to go with White Scars on that one. The White Scars are all about gotta go fast. So they're going to be doing those like shuttle runs and
plungers, heavy carries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Back and biceps, where Iron Fists or Imperial Fists, 2 fists. And I don't think I'll lean towards either of those, but then there's Space Wolves or Salamanders, and that's back and biceps.
I'd go with Salamanders because they're my favorite.
Yes.
Leg day would be Space Wolves. Mubin, get out of here. Absolutely not, Mubin. You are incorrect. Try again.
That's hilarious. All right, shoulders and abs, Imperial Fists or Salamanders? So
fists.
Salamanders, fists, right?
Fists. It's all about the wall, and what is more of a wall than a big solid 8-pack?
Right, right. And shoulders to keep strong. Actually, shoulders, people don't understand that they're actually the biggest upper body muscle group. People always think it's chest or back. It's actually the shoulders.
Well, I've learned that personally, given that my shoulder is down. Like I went to lift up a Pyrex container with my dinner in it, and I had to like lift my right arm by the elbow with my left because I couldn't lift a 2-pound container plus food. Like I had to like heave ho it up with my other arm, all because one tendon decided it just didn't want to, be a whole object anymore.
Wow, that's rough. That's rough.
Salamanders would be hammering a tire in desert heat. Yeah, they would.
All right, so arms. Arms would be either Space Wolves or Black Templars.
Oh.
Right?
Oh.
Hard one.
This one I actually do want to put to chat because I could see the argument for both directions.
Yes. I don't know. I thought I was leaning one way, but now I don't know.
We gotta give them a moment to catch up and start throwing their opinions in here.
All right, arms, Space Wolves, or Black Templars?
Afternoon isn't one of the options, Joy of Painting Minis, but hello. Templars, heavy religious zealots, let's be honest. Say wolves because of the Viking aesthetic.
You guys are not helping.
Yeah, okay, so it's 1 and 1, so yeah, we're really not getting anywhere. But like on the one hand, like, oh yeah, they're the big religious boys. They want to be the arms of the emperor, so they're just going to work their guns all the time. But at the same time, Space Wolves, they're my interpretation of the Viking aesthetic is that they're all about like having a good time and posturing with each other. So they're going to be sitting there like eating dinner, just doing isolation curls, being like, "What's up, bro? How you doing?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All about arm day. Skip leg day for sure.
Oh yeah, they definitely. If it wasn't which one is most representative of arm day, if it was which one is most likely to skip leg day, it would be the Space Wolves.
Yes. Yes.
But I guess in this, I'm going to say Space Wolves.
Okay.
I'm going to say Space Wolves.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. All right. So full body, pretty obvious. So either Ultramarines or Custodes.
Emperor's Children.
Get out of here.
Oh no! For an all body workout, that's got to be the Custodes.
Really?
I would say the Custodes. I come on, man! I got like 4,000 points of Custodes over there.
It's not about you.
I know it's not, but you're asking me, so in a way, it kind of is. No, I do understand the argument of the Ultramarines. They are supposed to be the all rounders. They were pretty good at everything.
Yes.
But that's at least. Yeah, exactly, Hobo. Exactly. Like Custodes, it makes perfect sense. Their bodies are perfection. They would have the perfect muscle group for every part of the body. Just pure, just the essence of muscularity.
Yes.
And
Henry Cavill as well. And you better believe Henry Cavill targets his full body.
I was fan casting a film. It was one of my little, like, I call it the bucket, but it's actually just an empty salsa jar of questions that people can submit a question. I put in the jar and I will only answer it if it is randomly drawn from the jar. One of them was, how would you fan cast a film, a 40K film that would have Henry Cavill in it, and what would you cast him as? Everyone was expecting me to say like the Emperor or Trajan Valoris or something, and I'm like, no. He would be Constantine Valdor, and it would be in a limited run series, not a movie, a limited series involving Eisenhorn, Inquisitor Eisenhorn. That's how, and I think I even said for playing Eisenhorn, well, he's too old now. He could play old Eisenhorn, but I thought J.K. Simmons would be a really good old Eisenhorn.
Okay. That's not bad. It's very creative. It would not been my first option, that's for sure.
I think he would be like, because I mean, what is Constantine Valdor but the penultimate Custodes? No, the ultimate. He's not the second from the best. He is the best. Trajan Valoris is the second best. But Constantine Valdor is the best boy. So I think if Cavill is going to play a Custode, he should probably play the best Custode.
That's fair.
And because he's definitely not, I'm not doing anything with Valerian. Someone said, oh yeah, have him play Valerian. I'm like, how dare you? He's too cool for Valerian. All right, next.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we got.
We've got our chest, triceps, legs, back and biceps, shoulders and abs, arms, and full body.
I want to hear. I want to hear your thoughts on what all of those are, but for chaos.
Man, I think I need more time. I really need more time to think about that. I'm not as familiar with chaos chapters as I am with loyalists. I'll be honest with you. So I need to get a little bit more intricate knowledge of them before I make my decision.
Well, the only one you need to know for sure is that the full body one is going to be the Emperor's Children, because they follow Slaanesh, and even before Slaanesh, they were all about perfection in everything. Everything. So they're not going to settle for, oh, I have the best chest muscles. They're like, no, I will have the best body, period.
That's fair.
So I would pick them, because that is like written into their story that they would do that sort of thing. But after, and also arms, like we said, it would be Space Wolves for Loyalist, and it would be World Eaters for Chaos.
I could see World Eaters. Corn, all about those arms. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Karn the Betrayer literally doesn't have armor for like a whole arm, just so he can show off how buff his arm is.
That's the only reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely not for some sort of lore reason that I don't know, and I'm just making shit up about. So
stuff.
What is on your painting desk right now?
Nothing actually. I mean, I have this random model that is technically on my painting desk. I don't know if you can see it very well. I don't believe so.
Dude with an axe with some blue and red robes?
Yeah. It's a random Reaper model we used for our Zombicide games. And it's been on my table for like months. But the reason why there's nothing on the table is because I came back from a tournament recently and everything was packed and put away.
What oh yeah, this was the Age of Sigmar tournament that you did the doubles tournament, and you got an award.
I got a coolest army award. And actually I can see why you think it was doubles. It was actually Triumph and Treachery, and it was one-on-one 4 ways.
Oh. It was a 4-way fight.
It's a 4-way fight.
See, those are the kinds of games that the only way that I think I could have a chance is if I pick the 2 players whose armies are on either side of mine, and I offer them both a 20 to leave me alone for 1 round, maybe 2.
And it's actually kind of how it was played. There was a lot of triumph, there was a lot of treachery, there was a lot of alliances made and broken. It was really fun.
It's so great that it was designed with that in mind. Just like, okay, you guys are at the beginning of the game going to be like, hey, Alex, I heard the Joy of Painting Minis over here was talking shit. We need to make sure that he doesn't run the table on us, you know? And then I'll be like, oh no, just cover my flank. I got you. And then I'm just going to turn right and just absolutely obliterate you.
You 100% can. And the best thing was game 1. I think game 1 was my favorite game, because basically the way the balance worked is, since there are 4 people on the table, if you bring a super hard list, everybody's going to go against you. Right? So if somebody brings a full like Stormcast Dragon list, yeah, you better believe that everybody allies to fight you until you're dead, and then they're fighting each other. So somebody brought a really strong IDNF list, and we didn't know it was strong until it did something crazy. We're like, okay, guys, boys, do you want to just ally for a couple turns, destroy him, and then fight each other? And we did exactly that, and that was fantastic.
That is such a wonderful way to internally balance throughout a tournament. Just be like, oh, you're really strong. Get them, lads.
Because the best thing is you had to talk. Like if you did not talk, no alliances would be made. But I was like, hey guys, come on, you should go. And the funny thing, he still did amazing by the end of the game. He actually still did the best out of 4 of us. So if we did not ally and kill him, we would have been all screwed. So it was really fantastic.
So it was a close game as opposed to just what would have been a thorough ass kicking.
Yes. But yeah, he did the best on the game, got the most objectives and all kinds. It's a really fun tournament. You guys should check out, if anybody's close to Ohio, Rent 4 tournament or Rent 4 Facebook group on Facebook. Fantastic group. And it always sells out fast, and it's a really great event.
Freaking Ohio. We do a lot of smack talking about Ohio around here.
No, nothing is good in Ohio besides that one tournament, and that's really it.
Good. That's what I want to hear. You always need the exception to prove the rule. Like, you got the Toledo game room, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, it's good times. It was fun. It was really fun.
And I did see you were drinking back when I drank beer. My favorite beer was a 3-way tie between Yingling, Guinness, and probably, oh, Newcastle. Yeah, those three were probably my favorites, but it was so cool to see, like, you're like, you guys are just sitting around drinking, and I'm like, I know that beer. That one, my side of the Mississippi River, or no, yeah, the Mississippi River, can't get it.
Oh wait, no way.
Yeah, you have to go across the border into Indiana to come back.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, Yingling is fantastic. There was a lot of different drinks I tried. Some guy brewed his own IPA, and that was awesome. Yeah, so that was really, really good times.
I could never get IPA. Everyone's like, it's so good. And I'm like, this one makes my head hurt because of how sour or how like bitter this beer is because of all the hops. But yeah, that's just me.
I don't love it, but whatever he made is actually really, really smooth, really thick. So I liked it a lot.
So you got Coolest Army, you said.
Coolest Army, yep.
Coolest Army.
Coolest Army award.
Is it because you were the only one playing halflings?
Yes. I'm pretty sure I think there's one or two more players who play Age of Sigmar with halflings, but yeah, I believe so.
And seeing what you did with, like, I have no idea what the units are, but there was like a cart and you had all the banners that you individually painted, like a chicken leg and a pie and like.
I can bring it over if you
yes, please do, because while he's doing that, folks, if you don't understand, like, I hate freehand just in general, but he did freehand that made me go like, I need to do this more, which is one of the reasons why that knight has freehand on his banner, because I was like, Aleks is doing freehand. I need to do freehand. While he's getting his stuff, I just want to take another moment. Like, look, footage. I have cool footage of my models from Play on Tabletop, and it makes me so freaking happy to have this. Oh my goodness. Look at the little Tyranids. Oh, aren't they great? Got some of those Deadly Prince Studios bits on the end. Good times. And he's back. Okay. Show us what you got.
I love it. So let me see here. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Oh, I can, yeah.
There is the cart. So I use this for people who know the rules for Cities of Sigmar as a Hurricanum. And what it does in game, it gives +1 to hit. So obviously there's food on the card.
Lovely. Incredible attention to detail.
So that's the Hurricanum. What I'm going to show next. So this is my third favorite model. This is my second favorite model, which is a steam tank.
This is the one I remember. Yes. Look at all those banners, everyone. Those aren't stencils. He freehanded all of that. I'm irritated. Like, look, a mug of beer, a pipe, a freaking pie or a hot dog. Either way, these things are so recognizable from so far away. This is so well done. This is what makes me exactly, DD. Exactly. By the way, ! DD in the chat. He was another guest. He painted a Warlord Titan and did like murals for each panel, and it's gorgeous. And then he did a banana for scale video, except he had like 30 things for scale. So there was a banana, a water bottle, a little Lego brick man, a knight, like all sorts of random crap. Freehand doesn't need to be super complex. It doesn't. Then what the hell am I doing this for?
That's funny. Actually, my freehand wasn't very complex at all. Those banners, little banners on the shields, were super simple to do.
No, but the reason why it was a clever choice to use very simple outline iconography, because it is identifiable at a distance. Yeah. One of the biggest lessons I learned recently was I love to paint from this distance, right? So I'm used to looking at the model from this distance. Mm-hmm. It's going to be looked at from this far away, minimum, or maximum. No, minimum. It'll be about this far away. Half the detail that I put in there, you're never going to see. No. And putting that much small detail at a distance adds a lot of like visual noise. It doesn't quite flow together as well as a model from that distance. So I need to learn to do more of what you're doing, which is paint from a mental perspective of like you did with your freehanding. Simple, well done, well executed, simple two-dimensional effects that are just like bright, poppy, clean, that are visible from all the way back here, where stuff is actually going to be seen. The 3-foot rule. I've always heard it as the 5-foot rule, but yeah, the 3-foot rule. That was the lesson I learned with my sisters when I was at Adepticon. I put all my sisters on the table, each model individually customized with her own hairstyle and details on her armor and all this other stuff. And the guy I was playing against had coconut crab Tyranids, very well executed, but it was coconut crab. When people walked by, they would stop dead and look at the coconut crab because they could see what it was.
Yes.
From a distance. Whereas my stuff, you would have to. Oh, I get it now.
Yes. Yes.
So that weirdly, that is a lesson I need to learn when it comes to painting armies. You gotta paint for that 3-foot rule. Gotta simplify, which funny enough is making me faster.
Yeah, very true. And that's the lesson I'm trying to learn is like, I don't have to be super intricate with every detail. I don't have to make a highlight on every single part of the model, right? Only the things that actually pop. So like faces, banners, armor, eyes, beaks, claws, like this, the highlights. Like for example, this is the last model. This is my favorite model currently. And this is a general.
I saw you posting that you were working on this. What were
Right.
people naming him?
Oh man, I have to look it up.
They were given some goofy names. I know I threw one in the ring.
Yes, I have to look it up now. It's supposed to be more straight, but it's pretty good. So like this model, I have not highlighted any of like the feathers. It's just a base color, dry brush, and contrast, right? And that's it. And obviously, there's not the best lighting here. But looking at the model, you think it's really well done. Well, at least I think most people would, because I highlighted, the armor, the actual model on it, the face, the shield. I put gloss on the eyes. I put a lot of detail there. Put a lot of detail on like his little shield there. Mm-hmm. So all the small details and like the poppy details were highlighted, but the big stuff really wasn't. And it really looks pretty decent. It was completed.
No, it looks great. No, that's fantastic because again, it's a great example of put the detail or put the effort in where people are going to look.
Right.
Human beings naturally, like our brains are hardwired to identify faces. That's why when people do camo makeup, you do light around the eyes and dark on the cheeks because you're breaking up the visual distances and definitions of what makes a face. So if you put the effort into a face, we're already looking for it. We're gonna look at it, which is why I need to keep working on my sister's model, because when we do the zoom of doom on her face, when I did the eyes, when you look at the model, the eyes are off and you can't quite figure it out. And then you zoom in and you're like, oh, I drew her cross-eyed. Cool. Need to fix that. Was the steam tank converted from a stagecoach? It looked to see if it was on Instagram. It should be on Instagram, correct?
Not on Instagram yet. I actually will be posting it in the weeks to come. The completed version.
Perfect. Did you convert it from a stagecoach, or was that?
No, that was just a bunch of garbage. That was wood, and I think these are, I can't remember where the bits came from. Yeah, a bunch of bits. The halfling on the top is an all GW halfling, and then there's a bunch of bits on top, a bunch of cities bits. Honestly, just bits, and then wood.
You've done an incredible job creating something that looked like vintage GW. Like that looks like old, to me, to an inexperienced eye like mine, that looks like old school Warhammer Fantasy. Cool. It's just like straight up, like you ripped it off a square base and stuck it on an oval.
Yeah, thank you. The funny thing is, this is like, compared to the old steam tank, this is probably 2.5 times the size. And it's halfling driving it, so it's ironic.
Because it's bigger?
It's bigger. Yeah.
No, it's just he's compensating. He's like, oh yeah, check out my Hummer H3.
Bigger than yours.
Yeah, oh, don't mind my giant cannon. I heard you were talking shit. Kaboom. So, of all the weird connections between 40K, or just not 40K, but just the Warhammer, the war gaming hobby in general, and what you've done to integrate those two things, the fitness and the war gaming, that side of things, and then what was some unintended connection? What is something that this little game mixed with your almost, I mean, your profession as well as your passion, like these two things coming together, what is some unintended positive consequence of that since you've started this journey on Instagram, like bringing people to fitness through their favorite game?
I think the really cool, the unintended positive consequence, which I did not intend to happen, which is neat, is I never intended to bring people into Warhammer. I always intended to bring people from Warhammer into fitness. What I'm seeing more and more recently is people are like, who are just starting Warhammer and asking me questions. And I'm like, what are you asking me for? I'm the fitness guy, right? I use the Warhammer to drive, the interest in fitness in the community. But I've had more and more people, actually, even people who are into fitness, ask me how to get started into Warhammer. And I'm like, that did not go as planned. So that's fantastic. That's an unintended consequence that I've been loving.
Yeah, it truly makes you a true bridge, not a one-way bridge of just pulling people from Warhammer over into fitness land, but you're allowing people to go both directions with you as the conduit. So that is a very cool unintended consequence.
Yeah, that's been really fun. Doesn't happen often, but once in a while, I'm like, oh wow, that's actually very neat.
Like I'm trying to imagine that situation of where, like, if I'm you and I get a message from a guy who's clearly got the very exercise gym focused Instagram, and he's like, yo man, I've been loving your stuff, like really you're getting cut, man. That game you keep talking about, man, what is that? Tell me more about that. It seems really cool. You make really funny videos about it. I want to know more about that. Yeah. You're like, well, here's some YouTube videos to watch, and then what do they come back like a month later, like, look at all the stuff I bought?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they send me their posted models or something they're working on, and it's fantastic. And it's, all of us have the first painted models, which just look like, 3 colors in a wash, and I try to give them some feedback. But yeah, it's a good time.
That's for me. That has to be like so heartwarming, like give you that warm fuzzy feeling that carries you through the day. Like this guy has found something that he super enjoys, and it's okay to toot your own horn sometimes. That it's like, this is kind of because of me. He's doing this because of me.
Yeah, I mean, I am honestly, and as cool as that is, I am much happier when I get Warhammer nerds to start into fitness. Like if I get a message, hey, hey, I started going to the gym regularly because of you, or even better, when people don't actually work with me, but they are able on their own to really commit and make, utilize some of the plans or some of the info I give them. And like, they get back to me and they're like, hey, I lost 20 pounds in the last 3 months using your advice. I'm like, that's fantastic. Like, let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not to discount the original intended mission of to help the Warhammer community get through into the fitness side of things, which, I mean, it's kind of cool that you're one of the vanguard on this particular like mission, because you have Mini Wargaming Dave, who yes. Vaunted lover of fitness, and he likes to post like, hey guys, I'm getting back into the gym, Corn wants it, 8 sets of 8, so on and so forth. And then you have Stephen Box from Vanguard Tactics, who is an absolute machine. He is a very fit man. And oh god, I had like 2 other examples. Damn it.
There's more. There's a Alejo Minis posted one, and yeah, so that was really cool. And
Strength Hammer, of course.
Strength Hammer. He is the one who started it all. He's the one who got me into this. And there was another gentleman who I was bugging for the longest time because he's a personal trainer to post something about it. He recently did that. I'm not getting connection right now, but yeah, it's starting. It's really starting, which is really exciting.
That is really cool and that's one of the, I mean, other than the reason that, like, not to brag, chat, but like Alex and I kind of got a vibe. Things are pretty cool between us. And also the fact that I get to, I don't know, like publicly test drive. I'm going to be a visible on stream, like people are going to be able to watch my progress, I hope, in real time to see what 90 days of working out with you can do. And I mean, to be frank, people are going to be like, shit, that was definitely worth the money. Way to go, Rhino. You did it. which is the other reason why once this 90-day period is up, I'm going to be painting your orcs like we just talked about. And we're both going to win. We're both going to win because hopefully by the end of that 90 days, I will be, if I do have to have surgery and I can have it soon, which being a non-emergency surgery, I doubt it's going to be soon that I'll get it, but let's assume I do. Oh, for goodness sake, another 10 minutes. We'll make that 10-minute warning the 10-minute warning for the stream. So chat, I'm gonna finish my thought and I'm gonna start letting I'm gonna finish my thought, but I'm gonna give you time. If you have questions for Aleks, please start typing them in the chat, and we're gonna cherry pick a few. We're gonna let you guys ask some questions of our lovely guest. So I already lost what my thought was. Damn it. Oh well. Let's see here. Painting his orcs. Might I ask what kind of list it is? Yeah, we did talk about what we're painting or what colors we're painting, but not what the models actually are. What will I be painting for you?
Yeah, I guess you don't know either. I'm focusing a lot on the beast Snagaboys and that aspect of it. I really want to get in combat and fight stuff, especially fight big stuff and big monsters and machines. So there's a lot. There's going to be 4 units of 10 or 40 total Beast Snagga Boys. Then units of the Beast Snagga Riders, can't remember what they're called. And Beast Snagga War Bosses and the Squig Hog, the big Squig Hog. And then there's some other random stuff like a couple Snooze Daka. No, what is it called?
Boom Daka Snazwagon.
Daka Snazwagon. Oh. Yep, that's going to be in the list, and that, I mean, that's a fantastic. I'm excited to put it on the tabletop. Some Gretchen, some oh, I can't remember now what they're called. There you go, Storm Boys, some Storm Boys, and yeah, a lot of fun units. So basically, what happened is I met up with my friend who is pretty good at 40K. And I told him, here's what units I want. How can I put them in a list that's fun? And he made a list for me.
That's great. Yeah, I've had a lot of people help me with that. Like when I was looking at what am I going to do with 15 Wraithguard unassembled that Matt Yee had given me as payment for building some models for him. And someone very, very kindly offered to help me make something that was somewhat usable. But given the fact that Wraith units are just not great on the tabletop, they're essentially Eldar Terminators.
Okay.
Aside from that, like they're Terminators, so they're not terrible, but they're also not the thing that are being used in tournament winning lists, which is what I want. So I'm making a 1,000 point list. We're not going a full 2,000 point army. This is just going to be a 1,000 point list for a 1,000 point fun game, and then I just call it there.
That's fair.
Which of those models, like, because you said you had like a beast boss on Squigosaur, like yes. the big like it looks like a shark with legs.
Yes, I love him.
Oh jeez, yeah, this will be an interesting adventure to paint because the Squig Hog Riders and all the anything with squigs in it, really, I haven't painted much of any of actually. Because I've only, for my previous client, or for the client who's I've already done that first half of the army, which the second half will be arriving relatively soon to finish that up. So I anticipate that'll probably be another week's worth of work. Because I'm very proud of the fact that he sent me the models. I had them primed, painted, and sent back to him in 6 days.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
I that's of all the things that I truly feel I can hang my hat on, is that when I say I'll get a commission done quick, I get it done quick.
That's amazing.
Because it's the only thing I work on. I'm not like, oh well, I'll work on his commission for an hour or two today, but I really want to paint these. It's like, no, I'm going to be painting orcs until my eyes fall out of my head.
That's fantastic. Yeah, but I really do like the squig aspect of it. I wasn't sure if I was in love with it, but when I built them, I loved them.
Squigs are something that will be a great blank canvas. You can, given the fact that you want to do this like pale human-esque skin for your orcs with blue armor, that opens up so many color options for your squigs. Like you can complement, you can go with a huge contrast and go something like orange or orange red on the squigs, or white with racing stripes, whatever the heck you want. And you'll be able to do anything you want and have it be super eye-catching on the table. So that's something else you're gonna have to think of. Like, we know what the dudes are gonna look like, but now we got to know what colors the vehicles are gonna be and what colors the like the squigs are gonna be, because they're definitely not gonna match. So you get to kind of continue to tell that narrative of your stuff.
I have to read some lore. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, all right. I've heard good things about the Gazgul Thraka book, but I have not read or listened to a lot of orc-related books. I do a lot of Necron books, even though I don't play Necrons. The Necron books, the Twice Dead King, Ruin, and Reign might be, in addition to the Infinite and the Divine, also a Necron book. Might be, in my opinion, the 3 best books that have ever been written for 40K. It's kind of weird that the most human character, in my opinion, in the 40K universe is a Necron.
Really?
Yes. The main character of the Twice Dead King duet of books is what I believe to be goes through the most human experiences of the entire of the 40K universe. But so before we end, do you have any final words, any pieces of advice, and then of course also plug what you're doing here in the near future? We'll get another !fit here in chat so people can be sure to check check out your Instagram, follow you there, and also follow you here on Twitch, because you're, I don't believe, quite at 50 yet.
Oh yeah, Twitch. So I streamed once, so that's a good reason that I'm not progressing.
Well, I mean, sure, that's part of it, but we love here in the Twitch hobby community to get people to 50 followers on Twitch, so that all you need to do is get the view count, and then you can start making money on Twitch. We love to get people to the point where they can actually make money doing this thing that they love doing.
Yep. I would love to get to that. It's just the time right now is difficult, but yes, eventually I would love to stream.
Excellent.
Yeah, as far as final words, yeah, thank you for having me on. This has been really fun. I'm really looking forward to our call tomorrow. As far as advice, I will tell people who are just starting their fitness journey, start with small steps, right? Do not go on a diet. Do not commit to a crazy workout plan. I'm going to go to the gym every day, 7 days a week for 2 hours. Baby steps, right? If you're not eating vegetables right now, commit to eating, a serving of vegetable 3 days a week. If you're not drinking, 2 bottles of water a day, start with 2 bottles of water a day. No reason to drink a whole gallon, right? If you are not going to the gym at all, commit to 1 day a week of going to the gym, right? And if you need a program to follow as far as workouts, just DM me on Instagram, fit_hammer. I'll send you something for free so you can at least get started. And that's it. Yep. Follow my page if you want more advice. I post some silly Warhammer reels, kind of like a TikTok. But mostly I try to really encourage you through some fitness posts.
All right. Thank you, Aleks, so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure to have you here. And of course, we'll be sure to plug away on your socials here in the chat. But I will let you get on with the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being here. And chat, give Aleks a lovely goodbye, and we'll be seeing you around, buddy. And I know I'll be chatting with you tomorrow.
Yes, this was fantastic. Thanks you for having me on.
All right, bye, bud.
All right, see ya.
And we'll hit that button, and we'll go here. All right. What a lovely chat. Buy Zoom now. I refuse. Okay. Oh, who's that? Is that Maggie? Just chilling out underneath the microphone? God, I love that dog. Awesome episode. Thank you, DD. I'm going to stop the recording.